And welcome to our online Sunday school, our very first ever one. Whether you're a usual person that comes to St Paul's or whether you're someone totally new, then we hope you enjoy it. Although we can't meet together, we can still be together. So we're going to come together and think about our story for today. Now today is Mothering Sunday. Hooray! And today's reading is from the Gospel of John, and it's where Jesus looks after his mum while he's on the cross dying. Now, in those days, there was no NHS like we've got today, and there was no way that women could really go out to work. So, if Jesus wasn't going to be around to look after his mum, he wanted to make sure that there were other people that could be around to look after her. Somebody who would help her if she was sick and make sure that she would get all the food that she needed. So, even while he was dying on the cross, he was still thinking about his mum. And he said to his mum, he pointed to his favourite disciple and he said, "Mum, here is your son." And then he pointed to the disciple and said, "Son, here is your mother." And in that way, both of them knew that they were to look after each other even while Jesus wasn't here. Now, why did Jesus do that? Why did he do that for his mum? Well, because he loved her, of course, and hopefully all of you would do a similar thing. We all want our mums to be loved and happy. But why? Well, we know that Jesus' mum loved him too, and we know that she was a great mum. And the Bible story we're going to think about today shows us just what a great mum she was. So, if you're ready, get your glad rags on, because we are off to a wedding, and we're going to Cana in Galilee. Now, you'll see we're in Cana of Galilee. And you can see that there's a wedding going on. We've got a beautiful bride with a bow in her hair. We've got a very handsome groom. And just like the weddings of today, there are lots of fun things going on. There are some guests chatting. We've got some guests dancing, doing a little conga. And just like today, there are some guests sitting around having a little bit of wine. Jesus and his mother Mary were also at the wedding. Here they are, Mary looking great in her finest pink outfit and Jesus looking very splendid in his white robe. They were having a lovely time, but suddenly there was a problem. There was no more wine. Da, da, da. This is a terrible issue. Mary told Jesus, and at first he didn't think he should help. He said to his mum, "My hour has not yet come." But his mum knew better, and she said to the waiters, she knew it was time for him to show he really was the Son of God and perform his first miracle. So she said to the waiters, "Do as he tells you." Now at that time, big stone jars were used for the Jewish temple for purification. And Jesus told the servants to fill these stone jars up with some water. So the servants did. They were great big jars and they filled all of them. There are 6 in our Bible reading, but I've only got 3 milk jugs, so you'll have to imagine the other 3. Filled them all up with water. "Now take them to the chief steward," said Jesus. And I don't want the dogs to get jealous, so I promised them all apart from Snuggles. He's a bit too tired to do a part. So he took them over to the chief steward. And look, it wasn't water anymore. It is wine. Wow. The chief steward, played by a lovely pug, took a sip. And he said, "Most people serve the good wine first and the bad wine later, but you kept the good wine till now." Jesus did this and revealed his glory. Well done, Jesus. Now, Jess is going to come back over here and we're going to think about what we've learned. My hair a mess? Probably. So, what do we learn from today's message? What do we learn about Jesus transforming water into wine? Well, the first thing we learn is that Jesus changes everything. He's got the power to turn ordinary water into wine, something special, something different. And actually, Jesus has got the power to change all of us into something special and something different, to turn any situation, even the situation we find ourselves in today, where we know we should be meeting with friends, we should be seeing our grandmas, we should be seeing those that we love. Maybe you can't do that today because you don't want to make your nan sick, and that might make you sad. But we have hope in Jesus. We know that this won't last. We know that this situation will be transformed. We know that we won't be all separate together. We know that one day, soon enough, we'll be back in Sunday school and we can have fun and play around and play the same games that we always have. So if we trust in Jesus, then we know that this is only going to be a bit strange for a short time, and we can make the most of the time we've got together. We're all off school, we're all in our homes, there's lots of games we can play, lots of films we can watch, and hopefully lots of chocolate you can eat. I haven't seen any shortages of that in the supermarket yet. So there's lots of good things that we're going to be doing over the next few weeks, and hopefully online Sunday school is going to be one of them. So we know that if we trust in Jesus and if we ask him to help us change how we think about the situation, we can see that a few weeks off school and a bit of time at home with our mums and dads might not be the worst thing in the world, even if you have got homework to do. The other thing this story tells us is that mums are ace. Jesus didn't even know he was ready to do something miraculous, but his mum knew best. His mum knew just how special he was, just like your mums know just how special you are. So this Sunday, when it's Mother's Day, your first Sunday school activity is to go and find your mum or whoever looks after you and give them a great big hug and say, thanks for everything, Mum. Thanks for loving me. And try to show them that you love them as much as they love you. And a great way to do that is to get a simple wine glass like this and to fill it up for them. So, we hope you've enjoyed our Sunday school. We're going to end with a prayer and hopefully we will see you back next week. If you look at the photos, there are some crosswords and word searches that you can do, and there'll be a link in the comments to a game that you can play. So we hope you like it. We look forward to seeing what you do during the week. Bye!